Stranger Things final season just dropped. Well, volume 1 of the final season just dropped.
I truly trust the Duffer Brothers with everything in me, and I have for 10 years. I'm not going to doubt them on their last go.
One of the biggest criticisms around this show isn't even really the quality of the show. It's the time in between seasons where it's like 3 years of just fucking purgatory, so then everyone kind of forgets what was happening.
Millie Bobby Brown spent almost a decade shaping 11, yet everything shifted once talks for the final season began. Behind the public smiles lived quiet tension building year after year. The pressure, the non-stop demands, and the weight of expectation grew heavy. Then one meeting pushed her past the limit. When reports surfaced that Netflix reduced her expected salary for season 5, the situation erupted. The offer felt like a step backward for the star who carried the show from day one. For Millie, it wasn't only about money. It was about respect, value, and the years she devoted to the role. Those close to her say she entered the room already unsure about her future. The moment the contract changed, she made her decision. She refused to stay in a space where her worth felt diminished. She chose to walk away and protect what she built. The news shocked the cast, the crew, and fans who saw 11 as the heart of Hawkins. Millie stepped back with calm resolve, shaped by experience and growth. And as she closed the door on the series, she signaled one thing. Her journey with Stranger Things had come to its final moment. The signs of trouble began long before the announcement. Millie was worn down by long filming cycles and strict creative limits that left her feeling stuck. She wanted space to grow while Netflix held tight control. Each season added pressure, and the gap between them widened. When renegotiations for season 5 started, everything reached its peak. Millie expected fair treatment after years of leading the series. Instead, Netflix presented a reduced salary plan that shocked her team. The moment the numbers dropped, frustration rose fast. Millie questioned how the studio could cut her pay while calling her the heart of the final season. It felt like her effort meant less than the public believed. The room went cold, and trust faded quickly. She realized the partnership no longer fit her future. Friends say that once the meeting ended, Millie felt drained but clear. She had carried 11 through her entire youth, yet staying meant losing more of herself. The breaking point had arrived, and she knew stepping away was the only move left. Cast and crew noticed changes in Millie's energy as filming began. She seemed distant, quieter, and far more protective of her time. Long shooting days that once felt normal now left her exhausted. People close to her sensed frustration building behind the scenes. Her schedule shifted without warning, and she avoided extra days whenever possible. Some said she was pulling back from interactions she once enjoyed. Others felt she was disconnected from the pace of production. Something was clearly off, but no one knew why. Rumors spread that Millie wanted more say in how 11's final arc unfolded. She felt the character was stuck in the same emotional cycle while her own life kept evolving. When her concerns weren't taken seriously, the gap widened even more. The creative tension grew heavier each week. By the time mid-season filming arrived, the mood around her had changed. Crew members whispered that she might be done after this season. Even the cast felt the shift, sensing she was preparing for something big. No one realized this was only the beginning of the fallout. Everything unraveled when Netflix presented the updated contract. Millie expected a raise fitting her global influence. Instead, she saw a reduced package that felt like a step backward. Her team viewed it as a message that her value was shrinking. The moment the new terms were revealed, the room went tense. Millie felt blindsided after carrying the show since she was a child. Her team pushed back, calling the cut unfair and out of touch. The offer damaged trust that had already begun to crack. Insiders say Millie barely spoke during the meeting. She listened, processed, and realized she no longer wanted this fight. The studio tried to justify the numbers, but nothing changed her reaction. The relationship had crossed a line that couldn't be undone. When the meeting ended, the decision was already forming in her mind. She knew she could not continue under conditions that left her feeling dismissed. The salary cut wasn't the whole problem, but it lit the fuse. What she did next stunned everyone involved. Millie informed producers she would not return under the new terms. The room went silent as she explained her choice with calm resolve. After nearly a decade, she felt ready to close the chapter. She would not remain in a role that drained her more each season. The emotional weight hit harder than anyone expected. 11 was the character she grew up with, the one that changed her life. Walking away meant leaving behind a world built around her. Still, she believed the sacrifice was necessary. Cast members were stunned when the news reached them. Some were supportive, others shaken, and a few feared the show could not survive the change. For many, 11 was the heart of the story. Losing her felt like losing the foundation of the final season. Millie walked out knowing the series would have to adjust fast. She left with confidence that she made the right move, even if the moment hurt. The production team now faced a massive rewrite, and this was only the start of the chaos to come. Once Millie stepped back, writers were forced to rethink major scenes. Eleven's final arc depended heavily on her presence, yet the shift made several storylines impossible. Early drafts were rewritten overnight as the team tried to protect the tone of the season. Nothing felt stable anymore. Production insiders said the room turned tense as ideas were erased and rebuilt. Each change pushed the story further from its original path. Characters who relied on 11 now needed new motivations. Every rewrite felt rushed and uncertain. Netflix hoped she would reconsider, so they avoided removing her completely at first. But Millie's decision stayed firm, leaving the writers with no choice. They discussed new endings, alternate scenes, and backup versions of the final showdown. None captured what 11 once delivered. By the end of the week, it was clear the season had transformed. 11's journey no longer matched the story's scale or heart. Millie's exit forced the team into a corner with time running out, and the pressure to finish the season grew heavier than ever. Millie had spoken privately about feeling trapped in the same role. Fame came fast when she was young, and Stranger Things became her entire world. As she grew older, the character stayed frozen in one emotional place. The gap between her real life and 11's story kept widening. She also felt the weight of constant promotion and expectations. Every interview, appearance, and press cycle drained her more each year. She wanted freedom to explore new paths, yet the show demanded her full time. That pressure built slowly until it became overwhelming. Creative limits added another layer of frustration. Millie wanted 11 to grow in ways that never made it into the scripts. She hoped for deeper changes, new conflicts, and a shift in identity. When those things didn't happen, she felt unheard. By the time season 5 rolled in, she no longer felt connected to the character. She respected what 11 meant to fans, but her heart wasn't in it anymore. Leaving became less about walking away and more about reclaiming herself. The show no longer fit who she was becoming. Millie's decision wasn't just emotional. Her career outside Stranger Things was exploding. She had major films lined up, new partnerships forming, and plans to build her own production brand. The show's long schedule limited everything she wanted to pursue next. Opportunities kept arriving that she couldn't accept due to filming conflicts. Each missed project reminded her how much she was sacrificing. She realized she had outgrown the restrictions of a massive series. She needed freedom to move at her own pace. Her confidence grew as she saw her success outside the franchise. She no longer felt tied to one identity or storyline. With global projects waiting, she felt stronger stepping into a new era. Stranger Things could no longer contain her ambitions. For Millie, quitting wasn't just a reaction. It was a strategic choice to protect her future. She left knowing she held more control than ever before, and this shift would redefine her career long after Hawkins faded. The moment Millie walked away, Netflix went into crisis mode. Executives feared backlash once fans learned 11 might not finish the story. Meetings stretched late as they tried to contain the fallout. The loss of their biggest star hit harder than expected. Attempts to renegotiate came fast, but Millie stayed firm. Offers improved, but none repaired the damage done by the salary cut. Writers continued reworking key scenes with little time left. Every change felt like a scramble to keep the final season afloat. Behind the scenes, tension rose as production delays grew. Crew members whispered that the season might lose its emotional center. Without Millie, the tone of Stranger Things shifted in ways no one planned. The weight of her absence reshaped everything. Executives hoped fans wouldn't notice how much the story was altered, but insiders knew the difference was impossible to hide. Millie had been the anchor for nearly a decade. Replacing that presence was far more difficult than anyone expected. When whispers of her exit reached the internet, reactions exploded. Some fans defended Millie, saying she deserved better treatment. Others blamed Netflix for cutting pay after promoting her as the face of the series. The divide grew wider every hour. Speculation about rewrites took over social media. People dissected every clue, trying to guess how the final season would survive. Some feared delays, while others believed the show would lose its spark. 11's absence created a storm of theories. Inside the studio, the pressure intensified. Marketing teams worried the audience would lose interest. The writers struggled to keep the story focused without the character who drove its core. The final season now carried a shadow it couldn't escape. Fans realized Stranger Things was entering unknown territory. What began as a beloved ensemble story had relied heavily on Millie's arc. Losing her meant losing a piece of its identity, and many wondered if the show could ever feel the same. Millie's departure marked the end of an era that shaped her youth and defined the series. Her decision came from years of pressure, creative limits, and a salary cut that crossed a line. She chose her well-being and future over a role that no longer fit her. Netflix now faces the challenge of closing the story without its central figure. The show will move forward, but the tone has shifted forever. Eleven's journey remains one of the most memorable arcs in modern television. Her impact changed the series and the fans who followed her. For Millie, this moment becomes a turning point. She steps into a new phase fueled by confidence, freedom, and growing opportunities. Walking away wasn't a loss, it was a step toward a future she built herself. And as Stranger Things heads into its final moments, one truth stands firm. The show may survive, but it will never carry the same heartbeat without 11.